when you're here and lying down, I should be able to turn off my alarm, or I should be able to turn off my alarm. But what starts to happen as we get, quote, fixed, you know what I mean? Now I have to kind of do this, you know what I mean, to get the alarm. Or I no longer can put the alarm on this side, the way my bed is, it now has to be over here. We start making adjustments in our lives. But the shoulder, when you're just lying down, you should just be like a dog. But most people, as you saw, you know what I mean, are much more engaged, even though they're just lying down. There's a big difference between this and this.
Okay.
But most people don't see it. That's what I know how to look for those things. And also, too, notice my feet are underneath my pelvis, whereas some people, because of their balance, have to be much more like this.
Is that what I got?
Which is fine. It's not again, this is where her system goes. But see, if I'm here, it's already going to be just like rolling over for a kid, harder to get up. So in other words, I have to move out of the way of myself to go do something. And that's what, like a frozen shoulder or those kind of things happen. So, and that's why I do here and here and, you know, all of these weird poses. But it comes in handy again when you're doing your hair or you're doing the rear view mirror in the car. I mean, I talk adult movements, but the same thing with the kid. If I want a ball and I'm suddenly like this, you know, look at where my balance and breathing is.
Yeah.
And people go, well, that's spastic CP. And I'm like, is it spastic CP? Or is it that they don't have that relationship of coming over their system?
Right, they don't. Right, they want it, and it's like their system goes into override or something, so they
Their
don't
system,
know how.
but again, when their system suddenly can't balance, that's when the freak out comes.
Right.
So the more you can do those finite, that coming over to that system, so whether I'm here or here, oh, this is another thing I wanted to show on Frank, and then I'll start with the kids. I covered this, I thought it was a good class with the nasal cavities and balance.
Right, yeah, I was here for that one.
Yeah. You were here with Santiago.
Right.
But let's see if I'm in the picture, yeah. So, someone donated this to me, and I just can't believe it, but I just can't thank them enough. Because when I really saw it, notice the horizon level in the elbow. Well, this is another one of where the body balances. So you've got the scales. See how there's scales just like here, you know, so if I'm back and forth, so obviously Frank's a bit more contorted than I am, but if he goes to come down, see how the elbow still wants to remain in that level. It finds level. But what happens is when you have CP or something and the arm is a little spastic or because my shoulder hurts, see how the level gets and now they fall down versus having that natural, and people like to say it's the vestibular, it's the proportions, but I still say that this human body is set up in ways that I don't think we're really appreciating just yet.
Right.
So when you get an elbow redone and so forth, why does it change your whole system? Because it's messing with your levels and your balance properties. And so when that's contracted, or even this way, do you see what I mean? How you're not going to go down and bear weight, where here it's a natural, you know, I can just almost lean Frank on his own arm that way. And it takes his system, even though he's wired and that kind of thing.
Oh, no.
But in this position, I can now go and get up. I can go sit down. You know, so it's a point to go off of. And again, if someone doesn't have this because their back is rotted and it's affecting the elbow, or it's the cerebral palsy, it's how to, and that's where I like to work with the system where I'm holding it, but I'm here with my elbow over with their, and just coaxing the system, you know what I mean? Or I can be like this, just holding, and you'll just see me with kids, and it looks like I'm holding them. Do you know what I mean? But this is the relationship that I'm working on, bringing them around, and this is what's so nice to be doing as a parent. See how I can soften that chest and how the head can come over the pelvis to sit up in such a nicer fashion than just saying, you know, oh, sit up or do this. But when you don't have these nice little, I call them more developmental movements, see, I can go this way with the elbow or this way, you're really missing the big picture of what you need them to do later, especially when their proportions start to change. Because Frank has a long torso and nice long arms, but when it's more CP, look at how that changes how the movements relate through the upper torso. And again, not as a complaint, but as appreciation. So what do we need to do for Bentley? Now, maybe because the elbows are up here, I'm gonna go for my leg. So I'll go more here and bring, see, it's a much shorter distance, it's safer versus going all the way over here. Maybe that's too much, well, it depends on the person. That's why I put Bentley into standing. I was trained not to do such a movement, you know what I mean? Because that's too much for the system. I wasn't looking for him to stand and walk out the door. I'm looking for this kind of appreciation. How his head is coming over his pelvis, how he's coming over his system, you know, versus being just all, you know, on guard. And where am I gonna go with that? I can't go left, I can't go, you know.
You can't do anything, you're stuck.
So
how do you work on something like that, like, you know, for someone like for herself, so like keep working on her shoulder, but she just be cognizant of where her body is?
Well, there's plenty of that's where Feldenkrais was brilliant. He played with himself like you wouldn't believe. So even with myself now, if I was getting up or going to bed, there's a difference between trying to get into bed this way, you know what I mean, like where's this going, but a fall. And once I've fallen, I can't get up, you know, as the old saying goes. But again, with my elbow in such a way, I can get up off my elbow, I can, you know what I mean? Like, it is such an easier, it doesn't compromise my breathing. Now again, if the wrist doesn't rotate on someone, you know, and they're fisted, this is where you'll start seeing this kind of thing, because they don't realize how much that's controlling the system. So even though I'm contracted, let's say, I can just bend my head a little bit more, come over, let's say if I had a stroke, and then up that way, versus, in a sense, telling my body, oh great, I can't get up because this is contracting. So that's why with Gideon, you know, or Bentley, that's why I have to go for the eyes. If the eyes are back here, there's no sitting up. But even here, if my eyes are here, wow, I can go over my elbows and I can get up. So yeah, you can literally be sitting in a car, if I had armrests on, and just play going over the elbow. Or I can be here, watching a movie, and just feel my weight transferring versus, I'm not doing this.
Right.
I'm just
Very smooth.
just a little, and then I can come here. Look at how my feet coordinate and synchronize, because my feet aren't flat on the ground. If my feet were flat on the ground, I can do that whole,
Circular.
but this is what I was talking about. My hand here, I can now get up, or I can go down. I'm a structure versus, you know, and that's where you see people, because they don't know how to use their bodies. And that's special needs, that's what, to me, so then they have to do this, you know, and they bring something over, they have a cane, and then they kind of do the, well, that, I mean, you're just looking for a fall, you're just looking for trouble, because you don't know how to work with your system. So that's why, to me, it doesn't matter if they're little guys or big guys, you know what I mean, it's, but if I was here, and again, I had this contraction, you know, I still can go down, rotate, you know what I mean, and come up in a way, it still doesn't look as nice as doing it this way,
Of course not.
but it's still functioning at such a greater level, and that's where you see some people severely disabled and they can drive cars with their feet, and it's like they don't even think, you know, putting their feet in, if I did that, I mean, just doing that, my foot cramps, because something I don't play with. But the body is all based off of that, you know, like here, I don't know if I can do it because my table is 3 inches of foam, but I don't need my legs to walk because I know how to use my system. But, and I can go like this, you know what I mean? I can go like this. It's not that I'm, quote, flexible. I just know how to use my system a bit more than the average bear. So I can come here, I can come here. Now I don't expect you to do this in your bed, but I can just roll down or roll up.